Hey everyone, I'm Silvio Perez, and in this video, I wanted to talk about something near and dear to my heart, which is measuring the effectiveness of your B2B advertising campaigns. Now, this is the start of a new series that I'm experimenting with. I'm calling it Advertising Thoughts, where a couple times a month, I'm gonna jump on the camera and just kind of rant and brain dump different things that I'm thinking about in a more casual way. So that way I can answer questions. If you guys have any Q&A or anything like that, feel free to drop them in the comments and I can create a list of those questions and then answer them in future videos. So let's talk about measuring the effectiveness of your B2B advertising campaigns. Right now we are in a down economy. For some companies in certain industries, it's more severe versus others. But I can tell you absolutely in the MarTech space, which is where I work in, budgets are being cut left and right, and where everyone is definitely feeling this impact. So I wanted to talk about how are you approaching your measurement? Because when things are tough, everything is getting analyzed through a very fine lens. And if you don't have the proper approach, it's very simple for you to cut things that are maybe not worth cutting and leaving things going that aren't necessarily worthwhile, because everything must contribute to the bottom line in times like these. Now, one of the biggest mistakes that I see folks make when it comes to measuring the effectiveness of their B2B advertising campaigns is they only rely on what they can see in terms of a last touch attribution. Now, this is a huge mistake. Obviously, I think, if you're active on LinkedIn, you see this every day talking about attributions flawed, etc. I do believe there is value in attribution, and you should be, measuring everything you possibly can from a last touch basis, a multi-touch attribution model, trying to get all those different inputs and insights. Absolutely, you should. And then you can measure the effectiveness of your channel in a dollar in, dollar out perspective, especially for your demand capture campaigns where you're trying to drive direct response. For demand creation, it gets harder because you're not getting that direct response. And this is also where it's really important at the end of the day, where how you measure true success from your B2B advertising campaigns, and ultimately not just B2B advertising, but as a marketing team, should be based on the overall efficiency, the overall growth in terms of source opportunities, source pipeline, source revenue. That is ultimately what you can live and die on. So one of the easiest things that you can do as a marketing leader or as a demand gen manager within a team is look at your total ad spend against all of your blended inbound metrics, meaning all of your total demo requests that you have sourced inbound, all of your opportunities inbound that you've sourced, all of your revenue that you have sourced inbound, and compare that against your ad spend. And that will give you this overall number, this overall efficiency across your marketing team that will allow you that peace of mind to understand, are we moving the ship in the right direction, or do we need to make changes? Because here's the challenge. Again, going back to attributions flawed, tracking pixels are inaccurate, especially if you're measuring based on the channel conversions. There's so many nuances that can go into not giving you a perfect source of truth. So if you just look at an individual channel level performance and use that as your only indicator of whether or not you're going to continue to invest in a certain channel, I promise you things break, and it might be premature. And it also might not be premature. Maybe your system is dialed in, and if that's the case, great. But for most B2B advertising organizations where the B2B buying process is not linear and it can take up to 3 years at times, depending on the organization, it's oftentimes really misleading and really tough to do so. So if you're not already, if you take one thing from this video, start to look at your overall marketing team in terms of blended performance. Total inbound ops, total pipeline, total demo request, and then your total ad spend, and take the difference between the two and start to understand your efficiency metrics across the different stages. And then yes, take it a step deeper and try to understand the efficiency by channel, specifically for like demand capture campaigns. But once you start to get outside of just demand capture and you start to focus on demand creation and things that are not as attributable, it's going to become even harder and more necessary for you to take this holistic approach versus just those individual line item and analyzing everything from a dollar in, dollar out perspective that you can directly attribute. So that is my rant for this video. I hope it was helpful. So if you take anything from this, please have a big holistic picture, right? Because at the end of the day, if you can go and you can look at your performance across your team and understand, hey, in terms of ad spend, I've invested $20,000 this month in this new channel, in this new tactic, and oh, look at this, our cost per qualified demo is down and our amount of qualified demos is up, well, that is very indicative of what you're doing is working, and you should keep doing more of it and keep moving into that path. So by having that overall health score, essentially, you can use that as a leader, and you can go to your CEO, you can go to the board, and you can paint that picture for them, and you can show them, hey, as a company, as a team, overall, we're moving in the right direction. And of course, again, yes, measure individual channel performance, absolutely, especially for your conversion campaigns that are driving a direct response. Definitely, all day, every day. But don't just use that as the only thing for you to make the decision of whether or not you're going to pull budget back. Because if, God forbid, your attribution was just awful, maybe there was something wrong with your tracking or whatever the case might be, maybe something wrong with your lead routing, there's a million different variables, and you only use that as your source of truth, you might cut something prematurely. And lo and behold, this happens all the time, especially with people who run a lot of brand awareness campaigns, especially things like YouTube ads, is because you can't get that direct conversion. They cut the spend on YouTube ads as an example, and then they notice overall demo requests are down, overall direct traffic is down, because a lot of the folks will see your ads, they won't directly convert, they'll go look you up on Google, they'll come in as Google organic, they'll look you up directly, they'll come in as direct traffic, right? And you're gonna notice overall performance just dips because you pulled that spend prematurely. So take that holistic approach. I am ranting, but that's kind of the point of this video series. So let me know if you got value out of this video, and if you have any ideas, any questions on things that you would want answered from someone like myself in terms of B2B advertising, more than happy to help, and I will see you next time. All right, take care.